Hey guys, what's up? Just going live to give you guys an update as to how the Kickstarter is going, some news, any all the going ons. Let me see if I can click this thing here. All right, let's go show the link. All right, cool. Yeah. So we started. I just posted the link for the Crescent City Monsters Kickstarter. You can check that out. In fact, maybe I should. Let me see if. Let's try something else. If you go to www.crescentcitymonsters.com, that should send you to the Kickstarter. So let's use that one because that one's a little easier to. Oh no, this is the wrong link. It's Crescent City Monsters. This is Crescent Monsters. All right, let's do that one more time. Here we go. Crescent City Monsters. .com. Here we go. Send that over. How do we do this? There we go. Yeah, so just giving you guys an update. Trying to keep you guys updated as to how the Crescent City Monsters Kickstarter is going. Got some exciting stuff going on. Let me make sure I plug in my power here. So yeah, I sent out this notification recently and it's labeled black and white. So what is that about? Well, it turns out that someone sent me a message, a direct message saying that they really think that I'm making a mistake, that the grayscale is the way to go as opposed to the color. So, this person was really adamant about it. And so it had me wondering, well, are there any other people feeling this way? So I did this poll on my Kickstarter update, and the poll was, would you back a grayscale version of Crescent City Monsters #5? Now, the plan was to create the full color version of Crescent City Monsters #5, and then do a stretch goal so we can go back and color issues 1 through 4. But I'm kind of reconsidering that now because it looks like there's a strong feeling that we should have a grayscale version of Crescent City #5. So when I did this poll, I asked folks, would you back a grayscale version of Crescent City #5? You can see here. Here are the results. We've got 43 votes. I think that's the most participation we've had in a survey, in our Kickstarter survey, or I should say poll. And it came back pretty interesting. So I just want to show that as far as people who just want full color, they were pretty much in the minority. Out of the 43 votes, 5 people were like, hey, no, I just prefer full color, right? But as you can see, about 21% of the folks here, they just don't care, just as long as they get the book, right? And then we have another 28%, which is almost a third of the people says, yeah, they would like a grayscale version of #5. And then last but not least, a whopping 40% that says that they would back both the color and the grayscale version. So if you're new to Crescent City Monsters, this is a look at the grayscale version right here. So you can see these are a couple of pages from some of the issues of Crescent City Monsters. This one here is from issue 1, and I believe this one is from issue #3. So I picked out, a couple of dope pages that people could kind of get an idea, a sense of like what's possible with grayscale, right? Just in case you're not familiar with Crescent City Monsters, and this is what you're looking at, and it's pretty dope. Now, with that said, I was really surprised, and it caught me off guard that so many people really wanted a grayscale version. And technically, you can combine the yes, I would back a grayscale version with the yes, I would back both color and grayscale versions. So This is more than half of the people would really vote to have a grayscale version. So I'm definitely going to create a grayscale version. I just need to figure out how I'm going to uh, configure the the um, the rewards, right? The reward tiers, because right now it's configured for just the full color, so without the grayscale in mind. So that means I need to add another tier, possibly another, possibly a an add-on. But I think I'd rather have a tier because what I'm gonna do, because I'd rather have it focused on just have its own tier, which I might have to do some adjusting, create another tier because there's a tier where you collect all the different versions of Crescent City Monsters. So adding this would need that mean that I create another tier. So I've got some work done ahead of me. So we'll see what happens. And if I do a black and white version, I'm going to actually create a different cover for Crescent City Monsters #5. If we have a black and white version of issue #5. So there's some work to be done. It's not impossible, but it's definitely possible. So definitely going to create a grayscale or black and white version of Crescent City Monsters. But like I said, it's a matter of trying to configure or reconfigure how I'm going to do these reward tiers because it's now it's a little tricky. So yeah, like I said, I really let me see if I can blow this up for you guys a little bit. Zoom in. Okay, it's not letting me zoom in. Hold on. Let's see. Oh, there we go. So yeah, as you can see, this is the results. We've got 43 votes in terms of how people feel about the uh, backing the Kickstarter with a grayscale version of Crescent City Monsters #5. And yeah, I was just totally shocked. As you can see, there's a whole bunch of people who are do want this grayscale version. And I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but I am. I thought uh, I didn't realize that people would miss the grayscale version that much. So looks like I'm going to put it back in rotation, and it's just a matter of figuring out how I'm going to do it, whether or not I'm going to, if I have enough wiggle room, money wise or financial wise, to just add the grayscale because my calculations was done for the the full color version, so I didn't take into consideration the grayscale version, which means that I would have to get GN to create the grayscale version, to not just illustrate it, but to actually create the grayscale version. Because right now he's just doing pure lines because we have a colorist who's going to pick up from his work and then color the book. So we'll see what happens. Right now it looks like it's kind of obvious. I see where things are headed, and I'm going to create a grayscale version. But like I said, it's just a matter of figuring out how to do that, whether or not I just squeeze a couple of tiers in there, reward tiers in the Kickstarter to uh, have you guys be able to pledge for a grayscale version, or if I should do a stretch goal. So an idea kind of came to me. This is sort of a I don't know what you would call it because it's technically it wouldn't be a stretch goal because stretch goals are because right now let's see what do we have? We have so we're aiming for 20,000, right? So I'm thinking that instead of a stretch goal, usually stretch goals exceed what your goals are. I think I'm going to go with a different kind of goal. This is they should come up with a new name for this. Instead of a stretch goal, it's just I don't know, an internal goal. So I'm thinking like once we right now we're at uh 6,693. Let's just say 6,700. So I'm thinking once we reach 10, no, maybe 12,000, I'd feel a little bit more comfortable. Like, hey, okay, let's offer let's offer us a a grayscale version of this book. So let me and everybody's been chiming in. So I pretty much at this point I pretty much know how most people feel about whether or not we should have the grayscale version, and I believe we should have the grayscale version. It's just a matter of figuring out what how to implement that, because this Kickstarter is already structured for full color version without taking into consideration grayscale. But we can definitely figure something out. See what works. Might have to reduce stuff. I mean, so now the thing too is I'm questioning the stretch goal I have, because there's a stretch goal which says, hey, if we meet um, 30,000, that will go back and color issues 1 through 4. So it doesn't seem like there may be like a very strong demand to go back and color issue number 1 through 4. So I might just rethink how I'm gonna approach this, which is kind of like is really interesting, because I've never been in a situation with a Kickstarter with a Kickstarter campaign like this before. So how to just rearrange or reorganize my train of my plan of attack in terms of how I structure out the rewards and what they should expect. So, but I don't mind. It's while it's unexpected and challenging, I think this is something we could definitely um, figure out. Oh, okay. So here's for example, here's a comment from Christopher Mason. He's a super backer. He's been a long time follower of mine, and he says, "I have to agree. The black and white contrast is beautiful. Much prefer that to the full color version." So yeah, there's a lot of people who feel strongly about it, and I think what I'm gonna do is just concede and definitely create the black and white version of Crescent City Monsters, even though I hadn't planned on creating a different version. And one of the reasons was because I didn't want to get tied down to having two different versions of Crescent City Monsters, issue number 5. So we'll see how it works out. And this is an interesting situation to be in. But I think we could be able to reconfigure some of the rewards and the way it's structured, and make everybody happy. Have both the full color version and the black and white version. So, and I think it's gonna be dope. I think it's gonna work out. Yeah, if you guys have any comments, let me know. Any questions about the Kickstarter, also let me know. Right now we're doing good. We're about we have around 6,700. So and that leaves us around, I believe, a third of the way there, almost a third of the way there. So we're doing good. We've got 32 days to make what for 13,400 so far. So I think we'll definitely make it. We've got plenty of time. Everybody's just trickling in. This is a little different than my typical Kickstarters. Usually everybody shows up in mass within the first few days, and I'm usually at least half of the way through, or close to it. But it's to be expected. This is the largest goal that I've ever went for. In fact, somebody on Kickstarter asked me why I went for such a large goal when I can go lower and then increase, um, go for a lower goal, and of course I can still collect money even though it surpasses the goal. And the reason I did that is because I didn't want to put myself in a financial bind, because I calculated how much it's going to cost, and I really need this much money right now to finish out the project, and I didn't want to not reach that goal. And like, let's say instead of 20,000, like, so the way I calculated, I need 20,000, right, to be my goal, to make sure I can financially produce this book, right? And let's say I said, you know what, let's do 15,000, because that seems a little bit doable. If I did that and only made like, let's say 16 or 17,000, surpassing the 15,000, but not meeting the 20,000 that I needed. I'm gonna be about 3,000 short of what I really need. So, and then that doesn't even really include like some of the expenses that come up that you don't really expect. So, I'd be like already at the end of the project, I'd be technically 3,000 in the hole. So I didn't want to put myself in that situation where I have to um, produce a book and then at the same time financially just put myself in the hole. So I decided to roll the die, go for the 20K. And to me, it's not that big of a chance because I've actually made $31,000. That's the most I've ever made on the Kickstarter. So, and I've made close to my other Kickstarters have made close to 20,000. So, it's not impossible. It's just a lot of just grind and putting myself out there like I am now, just doing this live feed, making sure that everybody who needs to know about this Kickstarter definitely knows. And what I did is, you should see at the bottom, I left or actually, it depends on if you're on, uh, I guess if you're on YouTube or Facebook, you should see at Crescent City Monsters link at the bottom. If you're on Instagram, you should see it on top. That's the URL that you could type in to check out our Kickstarter. Just go to crescentcitymonsters.com. It'll take you straight to the Kickstarter. You could check it out. You could pledge and do your thing. All right, so I think I've covered everything. Actually, real quick, I wanted to kind of go back through memory lane. Um, so I want to show you guys the very first Crescent City Monsters Kickstarter, and here it is. So voila, this is our very first Kickstarter, just taking you guys back to oh, that's the last update. I don't remember when this was launched. This should have been 2018. So this launched in 2018 because Gian and I started working on 2017. And as you can see, we had 283 backers and we made 6,468. So this here is I'm just reminiscing about showing you guys the very first Kickstarter I did and how far we've come. This is the team, and it's the same team, both Gian and I, and this is since 2018. So pretty proud of that Gian and I, even though we haven't been banging out comic books like every year or every other month or every 6 months, we're still at it. We're still creating and working on this amazing story. In fact, another thing I wanted to show you guys is, let's bring this up. I wanted to show you guys one of the first emails that Gian and I participated in and went back and forth. So this is March 10th, 2017. So this is, I sent Gian an email and I had already contacted Gian about working together. And so this is probably maybe a week after that I first contacted him and then we started working. So this says March. So we've been working together since March, maybe the end of February, but I'm sure it's sometime in March. So March 2017, that's when Gian and I started working together. So the first thing I had him do was what do you call it? A commission for me. So one of the first two characters I had Gene create is Box. So you guys know Box. This is Box right here, and this is what Gene created for me. And this is the references that I gave Gene for Box. As you can see, is this guy playing this guy with an afro playing the trumpet. This is the sneakers I wanted to buy to wear, and this is the jersey, the football jersey I wanted him to wear. And then Gene came back and gave me this absolutely amazing rough sketch. I couldn't believe this was the rough sketch because the rough sketch is incredible. And then the other thing that most people don't know is, so this is kind of the reference I gave him for the grunge, because at that time, when you look up grunge on the internet, the New Orleans grunge, which is a local New Orleans lore, they kind of look like lizards, and so this is what I gave him. and I gave him some additional instructions, and so he came up with two versions of the Grunch. So originally, the Grunch that you see now did look like this, and they look nothing like the way they do now. So he created this. I thought these were super dope. The Grunch was. I was about to have the Grunch was almost gonna look like this, but then I changed my mind because I saw some article about the Grunch. There were a few articles I did about I read about the Grunch when I was doing my research, and they all had a slight take on what the Grunch looked like. So this one particular article said the Grunch were like a mixture of albinos and dwarves and I think something else. So I was like, oh wow. So then I kind of I told Gene like, okay, this is what the description we're going with, and then the Grunch that you know now is what he came up with. So that's a little stroll back in memory lane, and thought I'd share that with you guys. So this is like one of our first, very first correspondence. Like I think, like I said, I think this is March 10th. I think this might have been a week after I contacted him. So and then I gave him the references, and he created the draft. And this here, if you followed the story, if you've read it, this is Box. So Box and the Grunch, the the first two characters that Gene created, although though we didn't go with this design of the Grunch. I think it's pretty cool. Maybe I'll still use this version of a monster somewhere in the story. Looks pretty good, pretty cool. Yeah. So like I said, we've got the Kickstarter going. I sent the latest update asking people how they feel about the black and white version of Crescent City Monsters #5. Turns out that I underestimated how much people love the black and white version. So it looks like, according to this, let me zoom in here. According to this survey that I sent out to the Kickstarter backers, with 43 votes, it looks like a majority of people really would like to see the grayscale version. So like here, 21% of people out of the 43 votes are saying they don't really care, just as long as they get the next issue, which I understand. And to be honest, I thought that's what I thought. Really, like at least 50% of the people would feel this way. Actually more than that. I thought really like 75 of the percent of the people would feel that way. But surprisingly, at 28%, almost a third, people feel like they would back the grayscale version of issue #5. And at the same time, you have those who would back both versions at 40%. So, that just based on this response, I realized, like, hey, I need a grayscale version of Crescent City Monsters #5. So we're gonna roll with that. We're gonna see what happens, and just figure it out. And for everybody who participated in the poll, thank you. I appreciate it. I know you guys are really enthusiastic about Crescent City Monsters, and it looks like especially those who were introduced to the story as grayscale, they want to continue as grayscale. So we're definitely going to do both color version and then the grayscale version, and we'll just figure it out. And I'll keep you guys updated until as to what the plan is. And there's going to be a new cover design for the grayscale version of Crescent City Monsters #5. So that's it. That's all I have to report for you guys. I appreciate everything that you guys been doing so far. Thank you for everybody who's joined us. Thank you for everybody who shared. Thank you for everybody who's pledged. We've got some ways to go, but we'll definitely get there. Like I said, we've got 32 days. Thank you to the 167 backers. And I know we're about to hit the $10,000 road mark soon. So it's just a matter of time. And like I said, we've got 32 days, but and that's a lot of time. But definitely don't want to take the whole 32 days to to make 20,000, because there's a really great stretch goal I want to reach. All right, guys. Appreciate you guys for joining, and I'll catch you guys on the flip side. Peace.